Hi, my name is Isabella Mojica, and I'm going to be talking about the Nike Pro Hijab campaign in the Middle East. Nike is an American multinational corporation that designs, manufactures, and sells sports-related apparel, accessories, equipment, and services. Its mission is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Its vision is to expand human potential, and it values creating groundbreaking sports innovations by making products more sustainable, by building a creative and diverse global team, and by making a positive impact in communities where we live and work. Nike's slogan is "Just Do It," and anytime Nike refers to an athlete, it's referring to anybody who has a body. More about Nike. Nike dares to design the future of sports by working with renowned athletes to improve its products. Nike's love of sports has created a team that's empowered, diverse, and inclusive. Nike believes in the power of sports to move the world and impact local communities, and Nike believes in a fair, sustainable future where everyone enjoys a healthy planet and an equal playing field. Nike's main challenge was that many female Muslim athletes had no choice but to compete or perform in traditional hijabs that were uncomfortable, obstructed their hearing, or hindered their sport. So Nike saw this as an opportunity in the Middle East because of its large female Muslim population to work with its top designers to create a hijab athletes could wear that would be inconspicuous. On the left we have the new Nike hijab, and on the right we have a traditional hijab. So you can tell the difference in material and fit. The Middle East has an interesting political system because it's made up of 17 countries and 411 million people. Below are the different political systems which are present: parliamentary republics, traditional monarchies, and constitutional monarchies. Mostly officials use religion to make political decisions, and the government is often run by religious leaders. There is pressure for democracy in many countries, which would allow more individual freedom. However, governments are not in favor of losing their power, and they fear potential chaos in their countries. A number of countries in the Middle East are currently experiencing civil and political unrest, and leaders are finding ways to deal with that. The Middle East's economic environment. Once again, because the Middle East is made up of 17 different countries, the economic environment varies country to country, but these environments range from centralized socialist economies to free market economies. The largest ones are in Saudi Arabia and Iran. Middle Eastern economy is expected to slow in 2019 to the lowest it's been in the last decade, growing by only 0.1%, down from 1.4% in 2018. This decline is largely a result of the growing desire for renewable energy. By looking at the chart on the right, we can see that oil production is the lowest it's been since 2016. The Middle East Corruption Perception Index. 90% of countries in the Middle East scored below 50 on the Corruption Perception Index in 2016. The Middle East average score was 39 out of 100. Qatar and the United Arab Emirates are the only countries that managed to stay above average. 5 out of the 10 most corrupt countries in the world are in the Middle East: Iraq, Libya, Sudan, Yemen, and Syria. Because the Corruption Perception Index is high, religion, bribery, and blackmail are common in Middle Eastern governments. The Middle East media system. Afghanistan had the lowest literacy rate in the Middle East at a value of 32, and Iran had the highest at a value of 86. The media system in the Middle East is considered very restricted. Because I couldn't create a freedom of press profile for the entire Middle East, I chose Iran, and its freedom of press status is not free. The total freedom of press score is 90 out of 100, and the legal environment, political environment, and economic environment are very restricted. Criticism of government leaders is punishable by law, journalists are silenced, and many popular online forums like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are banned. The Middle East media penetration. Although there's a lot of restrictions, social media usage in the Middle East is the highest it's ever been. Social media marketing plays a dominating role in Saudi Arabia, and of course, males dominate this market. Internet penetration in the Middle East is currently at 67.2% among the local population. TV penetration increased in the Middle East from 65.6 million in 2011 to 72.1 million in 2017. There are nearly 574.8 million internet users in the Middle East. Looking at the Middle East through Hofstede's cultural dimensions. power distance is big in Iran versus the United States, which means that inequalities among people are seen as acceptable and there's a hierarchy in society for who listens to who. Individualism in Iran is very low compared to the United States, which means that people act in the interests of the group. There's usually a collective ideal and thought process, and individualism is not very honored or important. Masculinity in Iran was surprisingly lower than in the United States, but it's still a masculine society where men are seen as being above women. Uncertainty avoidance, Iran scored high, meaning it's a low context culture, they're not comfortable with ambiguity, and following the laws is a must. For long-term orientation, Iran got a low score compared to the United States. They're probably not very pragmatic and they don't adapt easily to changed traditions. Indulgence is not super high or super low in Iran. They probably indulge in desires often, but not all the time. Looking at the SWOT analysis, some of Nike's strengths are its strong brand awareness, its huge consumer base. Nike often aims for sustainability. Nike has strong relationships with competitors and organizations, and they have superior marketing capabilities. Some of its weaknesses are its poor labor conditions in foreign countries. Some retailers have a stronger hold than Nike does. Nike does have pending debt. It depends heavily on the US market, and this is a campaign in the Middle East, and Nike has lawsuits against them. Some opportunities in the Middle East are emerging markets, innovative products, efficient integration, and social media use. Even though we decided that the Middle East is a very restricted country, their social media use is higher than ever. Some threats to Nike for this campaign are its competitors. Nike's not the first company to create a sportswear hijab. Religion in the Middle East is also another threat. Although they are embracing religion, it may upset traditional religious people. And because there are restrictions on internet availability, Nike must ensure that all of its audience members see its message. Nike's audiences. So Nike really doesn't have any secondary audiences for this campaign, but its primary audience is female Muslim athletes. Women in the Middle East are typically considered to be on a lower class rank than men, and they have less rights than women in the United States. If you look at the top chart on the right, the Middle East and North Africa have the lowest sexual harassment laws by percentage of economies in a region. Female athletes in the Middle East are a young but growing group. In the 2012 Summer Games, Brunei, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia became the last 3 countries competing at the Olympics to send women. That same year, Egypt included 37 women, the highest number of female athletes representing the country since it entered the Games in 1912. If we look at adult literacy rates in the Middle East, men are typically always higher than women when it comes to literacy. Audience psychographics. So many Middle Eastern women are brand conscious, and brands carry status in the Middle East. Often people will choose to have one outfit that's a designer or quality rather than multiple outfits of cheap quality. Buying is a social activity, so women are more likely to buy things their friends recommend. And statistics show that Muslim women prefer to tangibly observe the things they buy, which could be a problem for Nike on its online store. And lastly, fashion is immensely popular among Muslim women. This is Nike's pro-hijab campaign video. So let's talk about the campaign over.
ايش حيقولوا عنك؟ انك مو المفروض تكوني هنا، انه ده مو ليكي، انه دي ما هي لعبتك. أو يمكن يقولوا إنك قوية، إنه ما حد يقدر يوقفك، إنك حتلاقي طريقك، إنك قدهم، إنك أبهرتيهم. أو يمكن يقولوا إنك حتصيري شيء كبير.
So let's talk about the campaign overview. The theme is that Nike's hijab will empower Muslim women to be comfortably active. Nike is inclusive of every athlete in the world. And the tagline is Nike Pro Hijab. Some key messages from the Nike campaign. Nike wants Muslim women to participate comfortably in every sport. Nike also wants to show its inclusion of Muslim women by offering something no other company of Nike's capacity, at least, has done. And Nike wants to participate in the global female empowerment movement. Some supporting messages are Nike realized that in the developing world, inclusive companies are more profitable. It wanted to extend its consumer base while gaining positive recognition from its loyal consumers. And Nike's hijab is lightweight, breathable, and perfect for any kind of physical activity. Nike's goal is to increase its market for Muslim women and hopefully all women in general. Nike's output objective is to create a campaign using influencers such as figure skater Zahara Lari, videos, and commercials to get people to buy Nike hijabs and support the cause. The impact objectives start with informational. The informational objective is to increase awareness that more Muslim women are seen embracing sport than ever before. The attitudinal objective was to direct the perception in the Middle East and around the world to the fact that female Muslim athletes are competitive and worthy of respect and proper attire. The behavioral objective was to influence sales of Nike hijabs. Now we're going to talk about some strategies and tactics Nike used in its campaign. Some strategies were to use influencers and competitive athletes to appeal to people who value their opinions. Nike also used social media and commercials to spread images of the Nike hijab. Some of the tactics they used were to reveal its hijab collection 2 days before International Women's Day in the hopes of appealing to more women, and Nike worked with top designers and famous athletes to create a material for the hijab that would be perfect. They also created promotional videos. Production for the Nike hijab began 1 year before its release date, when Nike worked with Muslim athletes to create the perfect athletic hijab. The campaign officially launched on March 7, 2017, when Nike announced it would be selling a line of athletic hijabs. The product release date was December 1st, 2017. The Nike hijab became available online at Nike.com and at select retailers in North America, Europe, North Africa, and across the Middle East. New colors were launched in January of 2018. Implementation and use of messages. Nike used YouTube, Twitter, its main channel, which is its website, and Instagram to promote its campaign. On YouTube, multiple videos were released with over 1 million views. Numerous YouTube bloggers also made videos testing the hijab and leaving reviews. On Twitter, Nike created a hashtag Nike Pro Hijab, and thousands of Nike's followers responded in support and some with criticism. On the main channel, which is Nike's news page, they released information about the campaign and the production of the hijab. On Instagram, Nike posted on its Nike Women page images of the hijab in use by famous and ordinary athletes. Here are some pictures of Nike's YouTube channel, Nike's Twitter account, its Instagram account, and its official Nike news page. Some of the environmental factors that affected Nike's campaign were political, economical, technological, and cultural. Political factors: Nike was able to successfully sell their hijabs online and at retailers in the Middle East. Because Nike used Muslim athletes, the Middle East was widely accepting of the brand's product. In economic terms, the Middle Eastern economies, because they are quite restricted, Nike got lucky that they supported the sale of hijabs in its Nike stores. Despite technological restrictions, the majority of the Middle East did have access to this campaign, and because religion plays such a huge role in society in the Middle East, many people, including men and women, were accepting of the launch because it allowed women to play sports while respecting their religion. For our output objectives, I included some quotes from articles that mention Nike's campaign. Nike are not only inspiring hijab-wearing athletes, but also modest sportswear for any athlete. The diversity and inclusion of any athlete is opening new doors for Nike, as many females were discouraged to train and exercise due to not available modest attire or a preferable solution to their religious practices. Another source said the much-awaited sportswear from Nike. After the plus-size collection, hijab-wearing athletes were always facing an extra challenge with training in their normal garment's weight. The potential for it to shift during action and its lack of breathability disrupted their focus. So Nike's campaign was very successful overall. Most Muslim countries were accepting of its product. For the evaluation of impact objectives, informational, more female Muslim athletes are participating in sports every year, and hundreds of individuals, magazines, news outlets, and social media sites responded to Nike's campaign. Behavioral: Nike's hijab campaign was a success, and hundreds of thousands of hijabs were sold throughout the world. Nike didn't win any awards for this campaign. However, in 2019, Nike won an award for Best Company Perks and Benefits and Best Company Compensation. To recap, Nike aimed to create a product that included Muslim women in sportswear. The company saw an opportunity in the Middle East because of its vast Muslim population. The Nike hijab opened doors for female Muslim athletes and potential ones. Nike's campaign was successful, and it continues to sell its hijab. Key takeaways: being aware of society's direction toward female empowerment, Nike was able to change the lives of female Muslim athletes. The company continues to be successful by routinely upgrading styles and color. Despite the fact that regulations such as religion make the Middle Eastern market restricted, Nike appealed to what was important to its people, and that's why it was successful. Some recommendations I have for the campaign: I recommend next time that Nike respond with a press release to any criticism it receives. Nike didn't say much about this campaign, but a lot of the backlash was about how Nike is supporting the oppression of women. I would suggest that Nike tell its stakeholders that rather than doing it for religious or political purposes, it did the campaign to be inclusive of everyone, whether they choose to be religious or not. For the last slide, we have my list of sources, and thank you for listening.